All right, sisters, fans. Now, I'm trying to be careful of how I word this statement because I know Fatima is like, a major player in the series, and well, a lot of fans have been saying the same thing. Fatima needs to calm down. Now, keep in mind, let me just kind of break it down for you. I said before the mid-season finale, and we're not going to talk about how disappointing it was, but I said before the finale, I said, you know what? I don't know for sure. I've been incorrect this season, mainly on the whole. Gary didn't have any ill intentions when he wanted to help out Zach, but then I was wrong, and I admit to it. I mean, hey, before it was confirmed in the show, when on the basketball court, when he was, hey, you know what, the wrong people are asking the right questions. I can kind of get people off your back if you can help me out by word of mouth. Basically tell Fatima some good things about me, so she'll pass it along to Andy, that kind of stuff. And then I'm like, with Hayden, well, we know he's a scumbag, but in this one instance, I don't know if he was involved with the child support thing, which does seem shady in itself, but I just don't think Hayden was guilty of this particular situation for Zach. However, I got some backlash, not a lot, but a little. Jeremy, you're wrong. Hayden did it. But the thing is, we don't know for show, as Karen would say, for show. I don't think it was right for Fatima to, bust up his car and, jump into his home, and then she catches Gary there and whatnot. I mean, that's going to lead to a lot of trouble, especially if he is innocent. So we know that on episode synopsis in the future that stuff is going to come to light and she's going to get in trouble and Andy or somebody's going to help her out. But a lot of people are saying, you know what, I don't like this gun carrying Madea wannabe and sisters and whatnot. And I vouched for Fatima early on. I said, well, technically speaking, Fatima warned Zach and Hayden that once she reaches a certain level, that crazy, she can't shut it off. And I think for me, I did a video a while back. Mind you, I've posted over 6,200 videos on this channel at this point, so sometimes I forget. Plus, my sister's playlist alone is almost at 800 videos. Yeah, talking about a show that I thought originally I would have nothing to say as a man. But I did a video talking about the thing about Fatima and Zach. They need to work on their communication, especially when it comes to these big plans they have, behind each other's backs. It's like basically, hey, I'm going to take this thing upon myself that my partner is dealing with instead of talking and working out a plan with them in order to make it out of this situation in one piece. Like, for example, after Karen blew up at Fatima at work and then Zach went over to the salon and then that led to, the whole situation with I'm pregnant, or in this case where actually backtrack, or in the case of the season 3 finale where Fatima took it upon herself to deal with Hayden after, he threatened Zach in regards to all the insider trading and I'm going to get you locked up and take this house and whatnot. And then Fatima got him beaten up and everything like that. And now we have Zach locked up. And I feel like for me personally, it was really sloppy of Fatima to just assume. Don't get me wrong, Hayden left enough breadcrumbs, metaphorically, to make it seem like he would do something like this to Zach again. Remember, he had the whole drugs planet in the tires of the Chainbreaker truck in season 2. And that got Zach locked up in conjunction with Karen's credit card warrant for Zach's arrest. But that evening, after they got off work, in the parking garage, we're not even. Basically telling Fatima it's not over yet. So next thing you know, ring, ring, ring. Oh, actually not ring, ring, ring. She goes over to Zach's place and finds out he got arrested. She automatically assumes it was Hayden. And yeah, I really do feel like she should have done, some reconnaissance. Like, let me go down to the jail. Let me figure out what's going on. No, she goes directly to baseball bat to the window, baseball bat to the window. And I'm going to rough up Hayden with the baseball bat, and then they rush into the house, and then she finds, Gary and Hayden together. So basically, yeah, not her finest hour, to be completely honest. And look, like I said, I'm not going to focus on how disappointing the mid-season finale was and whatnot. But not only was that scene just like not even 2 minutes long, but it cut off before we got to the good stuff. What's the follow-up? How is she going to deal with Hayden and Gary? What about when she goes over to Zach's place to find out about this Heather Lee Jennings and whatnot? We got to wait 3 months and some change to get that. But I do think that Fatima should chill just a bit in regards to not blowing up at every possible thing. However, from her perspective, I'm not really trying to defend her destructive behavior, but at the same time, there's the argument of, well, Jeremy, how much can a victim take in regards to like different forms of abuse before they can fight back? And that's a good case to make. I mean, even though Hayden, the only time he put hands on her was after, she busted him in the face a few times with the brass knuckles. So I'm not really saying he was wrong for that. At that point, it's self-defense. I am not condoning domestic violence. Not to get too personal, but I saw that close hand, firsthand when I was younger. And I never want to be that kind of man. But if a woman is literally beating your ass, I feel like at that point you should defend yourself. But I'm not condoning it, but at the same time, she did wallop him in the face 3 times. Well, Hayden said he wasn't going to stop. Yeah, that's true, but in terms of who put hands on who first, it was Fatima. But I think Fatima needs to recognize, go back to the haves and the have-nots. When Jim was, how many times was Jim in jail? Like 3? I forgot. But basically, this was around the time that I believe Jennifer Salison was about to get murdered by Catherine. And Jim made a point, Kate, every time you decide to take things into your own hands, it leaves a huge mess that I need to clean up because you're not as discreet as I am. Like the priest that molested Wyatt when he was a kid. Catherine took care of him, except for like Father Maurice or something. I think it was like one that got away. And then Jim had to clean it up. And then with Jennifer Salison, well, yeah, Catherine left her bloody corpse on the floor. And Jim had to clean it up. Or basically got the Malones to do so. So essentially, what I'm thinking here is, Fatima's the same way. Where she's a creature of emotion. She's a creature of passion. A beautiful one at that. But I think her passion is what sends her over the edge. She has yet to unleash said fury on Karen. But what I'm thinking is, Fatima is that loose cannon where you would rather have her as an ally as opposed to an enemy, but at the same time, you kind of need to walk on eggshells, because it's like, if you cross Fatima, how do you know you're not going to end up butt naked, knocked out on the hood of your car like Hayden? I'm just saying, if it was BET Plus, I'm pretty sure Tyler Perry would have showed us that scene. I'm not saying I wanted to see it. Trust him, Lee, not that. But at the same time, I feel like Tyler would have done it. He would have had Hayden, stripped down and laid up on the car. Trust me, that's the kind of crap they do in Ruthless. So I'm pretty sure he would do it in Sisters if it was on BET Plus. But essentially, what I'm saying here is, Fatima needs to recognize that more often than not, her trying to do things to help out Zach actually either puts Zach in more trouble or puts her in situations where she needs help from outside sources. For example, every time she tries to stop Hayden from messing with her, and by extension Zach, Hayden, is like a cockroach who survives, and then he goes at Zach even harder than before. And at this point, I don't think Hayden is even trying to get with Fatima anymore. It's like, you know what? Nah, I don't even want you, heifer. I want to get revenge. So we'll just have to wait and see how things play out. Also, shout out to Chris Warren, the actor, because when I was doing freeze frame screenshots of the final moment where Fatima rushes in with the baseball bat, his facial expressions are what killed me. The fact that he ran behind Gary first and then his eyes were bulging out of his head. That was hilarious. But what I'm saying here is, I think Fatima needs to kind of, what was that Dave Chappelle sketch when keeping it real goes wrong? That's pretty much Fatima. If she ends up locked up, I'm going to use that as a joke. When keeping it real goes wrong, it's like, oh, Hayden didn't do it. Because I'll be laughing my ass off if, let's say, Zach was still in jail because, let's say, Jake wasn't able to get the $37,000 until like the next day, and as a result, Zach is locked up. Then Hayden and Gary get Fatima arrested for, destruction of private property, and then they end up in cells next to each other. Well, Jeremy, men and women aren't in the same wing of police stations. Hey, it's a Tyler Perry show. He did it plenty of times on the Haves and the Have-Nots. Case in point, Wyatt and Catherine. So it could happen the way Tyler wants it to happen. So imagine if they had to spend a night across from each other, and I feel like, it would be like in what is it called, IRL, in real life sexting, where Fatima would just try to seduce Zach from across the hallway. I'm sorry, I'm getting way too dirty. I did not mean to go there, but I feel like they would do that. So in any case, what I'm saying here is, I think Fatima needs to dial it back a bit, because her actions have a lot of consequences that have, rippling effects. So in Zatima, I'm not saying she isn't going to calm down, but I just feel like the Madea comparisons are obviously there. It's kind of funny when you think about it, how Tyler has, quote unquote, retired the character, yet her elements live on through other characters, mainly Fatima. So, with that being said, what do you think about Fatima, going off the rails several times already in the show? And as far as I can tell, this is the beginning, because you know how Tyler Perry likes to escalate things, and we'll just have to wait and see. So, thanks so much for tuning in. Who do you think is next on Fatima's hit list? Is it this Heather Lee Jennings? Is it Karen? Is it Hayden / Gary? Who knows? But thanks so much. Hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Hit subscribe and hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel.